Hello everyone, this is Martin Anderson speaking. Welcome to this webinar where we are going to go through what the new touring icon is from Lab gruppen. Together with me today is Claes Dahlbjörn, Miguel Hadlich and Mark Miller. So the new touring icon is about PLM Plus series. And we're going to talk about this more, of course, but let me first talk a bit about the history of Lab gruppen and the evolution. Ever since 1979, we have been amongst the leaders and in the forefront of creating great touring sound amplification, and has made some giant leaps over and over again in an urge for staying on top of this game. As you can see, we were the first real high power reliable amplifier and has gone through a lot of different steps in the right direction, ending up 2010 with the PLM 20000Q, which has proven to be a very, very successful product. As a developer, one is never sort of really happy because there's always something to be improved, and that is, of course, what keeps us moving as well. But when evaluating what the future touring product should be, it was actually quite easy for us this time to come to conclusions because we had the PLM 20000Q. It's a design that is based upon state-of-the-art technologies and that has all the 35 years of experience built into it of what the live sound needs. So we realized quite fast that we were very close to where we want to be by keeping the core technologies, but refining them and finding the weak spots and make sure to upgrade them. And we are very happy to have you here today to show you the results. There is one sentence in this text that I care for the most, and that has been reflecting the Lab gruppen way of designing amplifiers ever since day one. And that is real-world benefits. In every decision about any feature or technical achievement, we always strive to create real-world benefits for our users. We're not just tweaking figures on a paper that looks good and possibly wins you jobs short-term, but that doesn't mean anything in real situations. We like to do what we say we do. Take energy efficiency, for instance, of an amplifier. What is that? Is that a nice low figure written on a piece of paper with a lot of ifs and buts written in smaller letters? Well, we claim it's not, and we aim so much higher. We look at the total outcome of what our platform can bring to the show. With PLM Plus, we set a goal to break an internal record for real-world benefits, and I think we have succeeded, and I hope that you'll agree. PLM Plus consists of two models, PLM 20K44 and PLM 12K44. Each of these models alone are capable of covering 100% of the power need for a rental company. One model fits all, we would claim. And this gives a little bit more information about why. The 20K44 has the exact same power rating as what the 20000Q did before, which is all channels driven, 5,000 watts per channel. The 12K44 has a lowered total output power and can deliver 3,000 watts, all channels driven. But we have realized that in many cases, 20000Q does actually not utilize all that 5,000 watts per channel. Instead, in many cases, 5,000 watts might be what is delivered to the subs or to the lows, whilst the mids and the highs are getting quite a lot reduced in power, and many presets we can see that the output voltage is limited quite a lot on those channels. Thanks to this, and thanks to us giving the 12K the exact same output performance per channel as the 20K, in many cases the 12K can actually do the job that the 20K has sort of always done in many cases. So total output power is 12,000 watts, but peak per channel on the 12K as well is 5,900 watts. A quick look on the back panel of the PLM. You can see that there are only inputs now. There are 4 analog inputs, 4 AS inputs, and a total of 8x8 Dante inputs. So 8 inputs and 8 outputs. And of course, the PLM becomes a break-in box as well to the Dante. So anywhere you have a channel over, you can actually route whatever AS or analog channel onto Dante. PLM Plus, the star of the show. So why choose this headline? Well, here is why. Every one of these features listed are important enough to not taking them off the list. I could sort of not take anyone out because they're all important contributors to why PLM Plus makes real-world benefits to its users. So I would say it's a star for that sake alone. But its second reason is that this headline, if you look at PLM from a or being a star using a network terminology, I would claim that PLM has a really good, is used very much as the star of the network if you want, and it takes all the channels from the mixer and delivers all the way to the speakers and can send signals to and from stage. So it takes care of audio transfer, control and monitor of inputs and output signals, redundant signals. It takes care of the mains in a very good way, the power, and of course delivering ultra flexible amplifications. And that's all really cool. But what does that mean? We claim it means true cost savings and real-world green credentials. Real flexibility, it means less total inventory, it means less racks, which means less transportation, less power demand, which you can see an instant cost saving by lowered UPS need and generator need and so on. Less accessory products because there's truly flexible I/O and audio distribution. Less software handling because Lakes take care of most of the features that you need, and less setup time needed. So what does that mean? Well, it has proven that we have become an industry standard and we are very rider friendly. No matter what, you're not turned down if you have a PLM driving the system, rather the opposite. And we would claim that we're the most accepted standalone power and processing platform. And what does that mean? I would say it means that PLM is a very good investment. We're now going to talk a bit about core technologies, and we will do so by welcoming the lab group and famous guru, Claes Dahlbjörn.
Thanks, Martin. Hello, everyone. I'm very pleased to introduce the PLM Plus to you now. And I'm quite happy to say that we're reusing the unique power supply design that we introduced with the PLM 20000Q a few years ago. This means that it has a road-proven concept that is superior to all other amplifiers when it comes to drawing clean sine wave current with the least possible peak current draw for a given dynamic music program. This current draw modeling technology, as we call it, it also means that for a given limitation in how much current you can get from the mains, for instance, if you drive the show with a diesel generator, we can pack more power and punch into the beats of the music than the competition can. We also have the programmable breaker emulation limiters, which gives the amplifier 100% control of the current that it draws from the mains all the time. And it prevents tripping of mains breakers or overheating of mains transformers from the excessive current draw that could come with a power supply that doesn't have control of this. We also have the undervoltage limiter, which is unique in that it is really helpful in low voltage areas. An amplifier that tries to deliver full power will cause mains voltage drops, and if the power supply stays ignorant of this, it may even trigger itself to go into protection. The PLM Plus has the design that as it draws power and as it draws a lot of power and current from the mains, the voltage will sag, of course, but when it sags below 90 volt, it starts to reduce the peak current it draws, and thereby prevents it from going to shutdown or shutting down other equipment like Ethernet switches, etc. And it actually stays on all the way down to 65 volt mains, which is also unique. There it will mute the outputs and stay on for 10 seconds without power, actually. So it actually handles failover from mains to a redundant system without turning down. Stays on. Okay, next here is on the Class D. We're reusing the proven and very good sounding and reliable Class TD, and that, yeah, as you all know, that is a really good sounding design that we've used for many years now. As Martin said, this is the same output solution as in the PLM 20000Q, and it's the same in both models. Our intersample voltage peak limiters, they are look-ahead limiters that accurately avoid the output ever exceeding the programmed peak voltage, and this leads to very low distortion. We think it's the best sounding peak limiter on the market, and it gives the impression of an unlimited headroom when you listen to music. Another reuse of technology for us is the intercooler, which we have used since '85, and it has the benefit that it doesn't accumulate heat. The heat gets transferred out of the amplifier as soon as it's generated, and that allows us to stay on and play loud 24/7. Next, please, Martin. This PLM Plus features our new Lake Core module, and that's a big step forward in many ways for Lake. We now have 4 input routers, and as Martin said, we have double the inputs on the analog and the AS side. And on the Dante side, we now have the Brooklyn 2 module, which is used in many mixing consoles, and this gives us 8 inputs on the Dante side. And so the reason for our 4 input routers is that now we can have redundant sources on the 4 levels for any source type, and on Dante that means we can have 4 unique channels from 2 different mixing consoles. We have also doubled the DSP capacity, and that means that it can do exactly twice what the old PLM did, or the existing PLM. And for instance, that allows us to run 4 contour modules or 2 of the 3-way FIR presets. And last but not least, we have, since it's more than twice the capacity, we have headroom for going forward with more features in the future via firmware and software updates. That was it for me. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Klaas. Further, we're going to talk about the rational power management. Many of you might be familiar with the term already, as it was recently launched with D-series install amplifiers. But now we have it in the PLM as well, and hence I will call the PLM 12K44 a wolf in sheep's clothing, and I've sort of already told you why. Here is a bit more explanation. You can see it more in a visual, where it can be loaded unevenly to deliver the max output power of 5,900 watts if the other channels are lowered in power. Again, this brings a lot of benefits, and we believe that many rental companies, if they can sacrifice the total flexibility that the 20K gives, where you can load any channel with whatever at any time, subs on all channels or whatnot. If one can live with the sort of a little bit of lost flexibility, the 12K will be able to deliver everything a rental company would need. And you will see by the price point as well that definitely is a big step forward in allowing a lot of benefits to in that sense, reduced price if you look at it that way. It's more cost effective than it was before. Another thing
I should just
yep.
I just wanted to add that maybe that sounded odd, but one thing that one company could do is to have subwoofers on 2 channels and front field, for instance, on the other 2. So rather than have, you just mix how you use the amplifiers around, you get the same total performance.
Yep, thank you. And another highlight that we launched with D-Series is the Cafe configuration tool, which is a new piece of software. And that is also used to configure this rational power management. It's not very detailed, but you can see the green stuff. Basically, this program helps you calculate how much headroom you have left in the power supply, so you can make a very good estimate of what you need, and you can mix and match of what kind of power you want to send to each channel to make it as efficient as possible, the efficient use of the total use of power, so to speak. Another thing that is good, I mean, Cafe software is definitely, I mean, thought of most as an install software, but it definitely has its benefits in touring as well. And one that I think is good and that completes the lake controller in a good way is a very good channel and device overview. It also has a very efficient workflow for larger system, looking at it as a table view instead of using the modules, which are more suitable when doing the DSP part. Also, it can do load impedance verification by running a dual pilot tone, which we call load pilot. You can, in real time, monitor the impedance of the speakers, and you can, within certain thresholds that you set yourself, you can sort of make sure that the impedance is within those thresholds, and if they goes out, you can get a warning. This Cafe software as well, I think, will be very good use for guys, professionals that want to plan their tour and want to see how much power they want for, you know, how they most efficiently can plan the tour with the inventory. It would be great help, I think. Together with PLM Plus comes Lake Controller 6.3. That is also the controller that will incorporate the D-Series Lake units as well. Some highlights from this is window mode. Usually, or up until now, Lake has only been working in sort of in full screen mode, taking over all the Windows buttons and everything. Now it is possible to run it in window mode, which of course makes it a lot easier to run simultaneously with other programs. We have made a lot more intuitive clock configuration suite in this software, where everything is gathered in one place. We have also added a lot of good features to the display in the PLM, which is output routing and meter views and some good shortcuts that helps you toggle through the menu. There's a new module type in Lake. Usually the contour modules has gone down to a two-way, but now we're actually launching a contour classic one-way. For those of you who are familiar with Lake, it will look very much like an aux module, but it can take any existing presets. You can take any of those channels and copy that into a classic one-way if you want. And also, by the way, you are actually able to run 4 full-blown three-way contour modules at the same time, and then just route the outputs from that you want to mix and match from those modules, which makes it completely compatible with every already made presets from PLM. And you can also mix and match. Also, the PLM Plus is matched totally in latency and so on, so it can actually run simultaneous. A 20K44 can sit in the same rack as a 20,000Q. We have amp channel mute and routing indication on the module within Lake Controller, which is a very good feature, I think. Usually, before it can be a little bit hard to get the overview of what modules are using what output channels, and now you can see it straight away from the home screen. You can always talk about the great benefits of Lake. Raised Cosan equalization has been standard in the industry in Mesa IQ. The limiters, auto select input router with definable priorities. Our loudspeaker preset database, of course, the load library, and so on. Pricing. Here you can see a table with the new pricing compared to what the sort of equivalent model would be otherwise. The PLM 20K44 has a list price of 9,900 euros compared to the old one with the 9,696. And the PLM 12K44 has a list price of 7,790. I guess it's obvious, but the applications where the PLM would be used is all kinds of mid to large scale touring events. And of course, we hope that this will be taken on by rental companies and also speaker partners that want to power up with PLM Plus as their system amp. And I definitely believe we should go to, our existing FP and PLM users will be very interested in this product. Looking at competition, head-to-head standalone amplifiers is Crown, the iTech 4003-500, and the PowerSoft X series. Other than that, and the bigger sort of threat, I guess, in terms of where the competitors really are, is I guess with the closed systems. And of course, it would. That's where the speaker partners comes in. If we of course like having a lot of speaker partners that power up their systems with PLM instead. Our sales goals with PLM Plus is to revitalize our existing success. We hope to be able to ride on this launch and to by updating PLM Plus with this sort of covering all the weak points really gives a more complete solution, and that I think will help us all to suck up the last 30% of the existing customers who turned down PLM before because they couldn't power 100%. Maybe they had some passive speakers and so on, some full range speakers, and the old PLM with only 2 inputs was not flexible enough to take care of that. Now PLM works for 100% of all amplifiers in their inventory. So let's work towards that. Shipping. We will have pre-production of 40 units shipping now in October, the 31st. And mass production is starting the second half of November according to forecast. So please keep close contact with us now to make sure that we set that forecast right. Anytime you have a feeling about a customer coming on board, please let us know so that we can adjust our forecast to the need. Marketing. You may have seen the sort of 4-stage teaser campaign that we have made a couple of weeks ago. We were blasting the social media with just a plus. Then a bit later we added a date, and then we added the text, the new touring icon, and very soon you will see the fourth one letting you know what you guys learn now, that it's a PLM Plus series coming out. Launch of this product will be on Monday on a building in London near the Plaza Show called the Crystal, a very nice building where we have invited some dear friends to do sort of a VIP launch, and press, of course, is what we want to have there as well. And the teaser campaign that we have been running, as I talked about, it's a plus that became with a date and text and so on. We have a new website, the new touringicon.com. This is the site where you guys should direct all your customers to as well. There you will find all relevant information about PLM Plus. Further, we have done some sort of guerrilla marketing on the ProSun News Award, where we were sponsors. So there were posters with pluses on there everywhere. Our Mark Miller did a good job in posting them literally everywhere, and that was a good thing that people talked about all evening. This is how it looked as well. T-shirts. We will be doing a lot of these T-shirts. Please put your orders for these T-shirts if you want them as gifts to your customers. I think it's a very good-looking T-shirt, and it's maybe the nicest one we've done, with a good blue color and everything. Advertising will look similar to this, and we will be spending quite a lot of money on advertising in various magazines for PLM Plus. Again, website is soon up and running. We have a brochure. We do a lot of PR communications as well. We have prepared a launch pack for you that you can find on marketing.labgruppen.com, where you will find all relevant photograph data sheets, brochures, quick start guide, PowerPoint, etc., etc. So you can go ahead and start preparing. So, question: what happens with the PLM series? The old PLM series will be discontinued, and we aim to have sort of a last time buy around March. It's not set in stone, and rather earlier, actually, as soon as we can get the feel of when this will be coming to its end, it's good. But we aim for March as last time buy. That is it in terms of information. And now feel free to ask questions. You have a little window where you can type in questions. Ask questions. You have a little window where you can type in questions.
Hi, it's Miguel here. I just wanted to. I think Martin covered a lot of the marketing and the sales kind of aspect of it too. I just wanted to add that just make sure that you start putting in the orders for the PLM Plus starting next week, to make sure you get some of the first batch final production units, and also units in November, because we're pretty confident they're going to sell out quickly. So don't delay your orders next week. I would suggest you do that. So for those distributors, Stefan will be contacting you in Europe and Nick in Asia. And the other thing I wanted to add is just check out the Lab Gruppen website, the new one too, added to the ones that Martin mentioned too in marketing, because we have a lot of, you can find the cafe software and you can find a lot of new, very interesting documentation, technical and certifications and stuff like that. That's very useful that I know a lot of distributors have been asking for. So point your customers as well to the Lab Gruppen website, which is brand new. That's it.
Yeah, so I have a question here. If the new PLM Plus will remain compatible with legacy products, and yes, they are. The PLM Plus can be run together with PLM series amplifiers, and of course LM series processors run simultaneous as well. Also, there's actually some good features within the new Lake 6.3 where there's a good latency match function, or the latency match functionality has been upgraded to work between LM processors and PLM series. Another question is if it works with Dolby Lakes, and no, ever since the 6.0 version 6.0 got released, we sort of took the step of going for updates only including LabGruppen products or LabGruppen made products. This was a necessary step for us to take in order to develop further, because we had reached the limits of the Dolby platform. But of course, I should say that the Dolby Lakes, of course, still works with 5.8, which is a very stable software. So we left it in good shape.
There was another question on how Cafe can help on a tour. We mean that if you're planning a tour, or a company is planning a tour, they'll need to figure out how much current they need to have at each gig. So Cafe can be used to figure out the current draw of the amplifier for the given system design, and that would be used in the rider then towards the facilities on what they need to come there, or if they want to source diesel generators locally on each site, that would be another example of why Cafe is helpful.
Any last questions? And if not, thank you very much for your time. Please don't hesitate now. Okay. Yeah, please don't hesitate to send any questions to us about this. We're all in this, so we want to make sure this comes out best possible in each country. So we're here to help, and please now take advantage of all the preparations done with launch packs and so on, that we hope will give sufficient information to you and your customers. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you everyone for joining today. I'd just like to remind you to please, if you're seeing any of this stuff on Facebook or other social media feeds, then please do like, share, retweet, whatever you can do following Monday to get the news spread around the world. Thank you for your time today.